Tonight, the Baseball Hall of Shame. An investigation reveals what's called a culture of drugs in the major leagues, including an all-star roster of some of the biggest names in the game. I'm Harry Smith. Also tonight, the charities say they're helping wounded veterans. But how much of the money you donate is actually spent on them? Watchdogs say, in some cases, not very much. And a contractor finds a fortune hidden in the wall of your home. Who gets the money? You? Stand by.
This is the CBS Evening News with Katie Couric.
Good evening. Katie is on assignment. Say it ain't so. Roger and Barry and Miguel and Andy. Today, former Senate Majority Leader George Mitchell put out his long-awaited report on baseball players using performance-enhancing drugs, including steroids. And it is a bombshell that names names, big names, MVPs, Cy Young Award winners, all-stars, past and present, and dozens of everyday players from all 30 major league teams. But the report also blames the baseball commissioner and players' union for allowing steroid use to flourish. Chief Investigative Correspondent Armin Katayan begins our coverage.
The Mitchell report slammed home what many had long suspected. Illegal drugs were part of the lineup of every team in baseball beginning in the mid-1990s.
For more than a decade, there has been widespread illegal use of anabolic steroids and other performance-enhancing substances by players in Major League Baseball.
The most shocking accusations: Roger Clemens, a 7-time winner of the league's Cy Young Award as best pitcher, used anabolic steroids injected by Brian McNamee, a former Yankee strength coach. McNamee also allegedly injected Clemens' Yankee teammate Andy Pettitte with undetectable human growth hormone at least twice in the spring of 2002. Former league MVP Miguel Tejada was also outed, as were pitchers Eric Gagne, who won the Cy Young Award in 2003, and Kevin Brown, baseball's first $100 million pitcher. In all, more than 80 current and former players, including all-time home run king Barry Bonds and at least 9 All-Stars in the past 3 seasons, were implicated. Baseball Commissioner Bud Selig.
His report is a call to action, and I will act. I will continue to deal with the issue of performance-enhancing substance abuse.
During his entire 21-month investigation, Mitchell faced staunch resistance from baseball's powerful players' union.
The players' union was largely uncooperative.
So Mitchell put pressure on coaches, trainers, even clubhouse attendants to talk. Some 700 witnesses in all.
I think that Senator Mitchell's done as good a job as he could given the limitations that he had.
The keys to the investigation: evidence seized during a raid last February of this online pharmacy in Florida. And most importantly, a wad of checks provided by former New York Mets clubhouse attendant turned government informant Kirk Radomski. In April, Radomski pleaded guilty to selling anabolic steroids and other performance-enhancing drugs like HGH to dozens of Major League Baseball players from 2003 to 2005 and began cooperating with authorities and Mitchell.
I counted quickly nearly 4 dozen names tied to Kirk Radomski.
Yes,
that's a lot of names.
It is a lot of names, and of course, he's only one supplier.
Do you believe now that performance-enhancing substances are out of baseball?
It's very likely that there continues to be some use. My hope is that it will go down.
The players named in the report, including Clemens and Pettitte, could not immediately be reached for comment. But late today, the players' union had this reaction.
We haven't had an opportunity to review and study the report in any detail. Many players are named. Their reputations have been adversely affected, probably forever.
Back when Mitchell began his investigation in March of 2006, there were questions about the former senator's independence. He sits on the board of the Boston Red Sox. Today, he answered those questions and a whole lot more, delivering a document that didn't so much end one era in baseball as pry it wide open.
Armin joins us live in the studio along with John Wertheim from Sports Illustrated. So much of this is based on the testimony of one guy. Might this be just the tip of the iceberg?
I don't think there's any question, Harry. Certainly one tip of the iceberg is the reaction that's happening. I mean, Roger Clemens lawyer has already said he's been slandered and that there's absolutely no evidence. On the other side of the equation, you certainly have other active investigations going on, including one up in Albany by the district attorney, online pharmacies, much more to come, I think, with players being named.
One of the other aspects of this, and the one that drug that's used so much now, is what, human growth hormone?
Right, HGH.
Is there even a test for that yet?
There's not really a test, and remember, this drug wasn't even on the ban list until a few years ago. So I think the anabolics maybe have fallen out of favor, but I think the new drug of choice is human growth hormone.
A lot of the allegations predate the testing regimen. Do either of you have a sense that the use of these performance-enhancing drugs has abated at all in the last couple of years?
Well, certainly anabolic steroids have gone down, but as John said, the growth, HGH and the growth of the use of that particular drug, because it's undetectable, is skyrocketed. And Mitchell himself said it has risen as the others have fallen.
All right. Any chance that any of this is prosecutable? Would law enforcement move in here at some point?
I don't think so. I think with most of these investigations, it's really the pipeline. It's really these channels and these distribution networks that they're going after. These are sort of the low guys. But even Senator Mitchell alluded to this today, that he doesn't see this being prosecutorial, even though federal laws were violated.
MVP, Cy Young Award winners, Roger Clemens, with a basket full. Any chance baseball comes back and says, we're stripping you of these titles?
I don't know, John. I don't think there's any chance that's going to happen. Baseball has tried to distance itself as much as it possibly can. Certainly the owners have, and I can't see them stripping Roger Clemens of any of his awards.
And what about the fans, though? Because a lot of fans are going to turn their backs on these guys. Could something like this stop a Roger Clemens, for instance, from getting to the Hall of Fame?
Well, I think all these people who went after Barry Bonds now have some reckoning to do. But I think, this was a record year last year for baseball, and I don't think this came out of the blue. I mean, I think fans knew this era existed. Boy, I don't see baseball taking a big financial hit.
All right. John Wertheim and Armin Katayan, thank you so much. Do appreciate it. Major leaguers using steroids is one thing, but hundreds of thousands of teenagers use them every day. In fact, experts say 75% of all steroid users are teens. And as John Blackstone reports, they're setting themselves up for all sorts of dangers.
Steroids are hitting a part of school life that is so important to so many.
If I wasn't playing sports, I don't know who I would be, I wouldn't be anyone.
In San Francisco, high school senior Michael Palucci sometimes wonders about the unusually big guys on other teams.
Ever been tempted to think, gee, if I put on a bit more muscle?
Yeah, I've been tempted about that since probably sophomore year when I came up on varsity for football.
Second down, 8. On high school playing fields across the country, one big worry about steroids in professional sports is the example it sets for teenagers.
It's sad to see, because they're icons for a lot of kids, a lot of teenagers. They're like, wow, I want to be like that.
Well, scores of pro athletes were identified today. In sheer numbers, far more teenagers have turned to steroids.
Hundreds of thousands of high school-aged young people are illegally using steroids.
In fact, in 2005, close to 700,000 students admitted using steroids, according to figures from the Census Bureau and the Centers for Disease Control. The kids who do turn to steroids are taking big risks with their health, both physical and mental. Steroids can damage the liver, make them feel invincible, and stoke aggression, says CBS News medical correspondent Dr. John LaPook.
There's nothing scarier than a boy between the ages of 14 and 21, where you can have this dangerous confluence of physical strength and really poor judgment. Now throw some extra testosterone into that, watch out.
Next year in California, every high school coach will have to take a course in the symptoms and risks of steroids.
By the end of 2008, if you have not taken and passed this course, you will not be allowed to coach.
California high schools have decided testing for steroids is too expensive. Each test can cost as much as $200. But in Texas, state authorities plan to spend $6 million over the next 2 years to screen as many as 25,000 students for steroid use. The state's Get Tough approach has the approval of many student athletes.
I think it's a great idea, just to make sure it stays out of the high school baseball league, just to keep it more pure baseball.
But the spread of steroids shows that keeping sports pure at every level can collide with the pressure of winning at any cost. John Blackstone, CBS News, San Francisco.
For more about the effects of steroids and other performance-enhancing drugs, go to our partner in health coverage, WebMD.com, and search steroids in sports. As the Mitchell report was being released, there was another big development in baseball. The New York Yankees announced they've signed superstar Alex Rodriguez to a record contract. 10 years, $275 million. In an interview today with Katie Couric for Sunday's 60 Minutes, Rodriguez says he's never taken a banned substance and he's never seen anyone else do it either. As for the Mitchell report,
so many huge players have been named in this investigation. MVPs, Cy Young Award winners, Hall of Famers. What's your reaction to this investigation?
Well, Katie, you put him in a tough spot. I mean, these are guys that I play with. They're my teammates, friends, people that I respect, people that I play with every day. If anything comes of this, it would be extremely disappointed, and it would be a huge black eye on the game of baseball. A lot of fans, they just want to know. They want to know a lot, and they want to know the truth. And I think in this George Mitchell investigation, maybe they will get what they want.
Katie will have much more of her exclusive interview with Alex Rodriguez tomorrow here on the CBS Evening News and Sunday on 60 Minutes. Much more CBS News ahead tonight, including the money you donate to veterans charities. Just how much of it is getting to the vets? It'll break your heart. Next. This is the time of year many Americans make contributions to charity, and with the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan, a lot of money is going to groups that they say help veterans. But how much of the money is actually being spent on them? In a report today, a watchdog agency gives failing grades to 12 charities which collected more than $250 million in the past year. One spent only a penny on veterans for every dollar it collected. Here's Cheryl Atkinson.
Hey, Eric. People donate millions each year for wounded soldiers like Eric Edmondson. But today, Congress said too little of the money gets to the vets.
A lot of the groups are able to make themselves look good and appear as if most of the money is going to charitable programs, when in fact that is not at all the case.
A new watchdog report rates 27 veterans charities and gives more than half D's or F's. Big names like the Blinded Veterans Association, the Disabled American Vets, and Paralyzed Veterans of America. Robert Friend heads the American Veterans Coalition, which gets an F. It didn't give a penny of what it raised to vets in 2003 and hasn't done much better since. But the group's fundraisers, they pocketed more than $800,000. Congressman Chris Shays called it BS.
I think it's a ripoff to the public, and I think you're in the business just to make money.
Unless our numbers can start to prove otherwise, then I would agree with you.
Another F goes to Help Hospitalized Veterans, which gives craft kits to injured soldiers but keeps most of what it raises for expenses. According to tax forms, the group's head, Roger Chapin, gets more than $400,000 in salaries and benefits. His wife pulls in six figures, too. When Congress tried to subpoena Chapin, U.S. Marshals couldn't find him.
For the last week, Mr. Chapin has gone into hiding.
The father of Eric Edmondson, wounded by a roadside bomb, today got to see some of the charity tax forms.
It's pretty outrageous, isn't it?
The first thing that goes through my mind when I read this type of thing is anger.
Not all charities flunked out. A-pluses go to Fisher House Foundation and Intrepid Fallen Heroes Fund.
How they spend money not only impacts donors, but all taxpayers. The groups get billions of dollars in tax breaks and government grants, which is why Congress may pass new requirements, so when you give, you really know how your money is spent. Cheryl Atkinson, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
Don't expect to see cholesterol-lowering statins sold without a prescription anytime soon. Government advisors today voted against over-the-counter sales of Mevacor. They said Merck failed to show that patients could decide for themselves whether they should be taking the drug. Politics next. 3 weeks before the Iowa caucuses, a shakeup in the Clinton campaign. And that tops our CBS News Campaign 08 notebook.
Do you
Hillary Clinton's national campaign co-chair resigned today after making some controversial remarks about fellow Democrat Barack Obama. Bill Shaheen had suggested Obama's admitted drug use in the past could make him vulnerable as a candidate. Clinton apologized to Obama today, saying she didn't want her campaign to go negative. In Iowa today, Republican Mitt Romney took aim at a surging Mike Huckabee, branding the former Arkansas governor with the L word.
On matters related to immigration, crime, and spending and taxing, he's too liberal.
And Rudy Giuliani is out with a new campaign ad targeting illegal immigration.
People are frustrated over immigration because the government has been talking about solving this for 20 or 25 years, and it's just gotten worse.
Giuliani and his fellow Republicans had their last debate before the Iowa caucuses yesterday. Today it was the Democrats' turn. Our senior political correspondent, Jeff Greenfield, was there and joins us from Johnston, Iowa. Jeff, what was the news from the debate today?
Well, Harry, the news was there was not a debate. The dictionary says a debate is a discussion of opposing views, and just about anything one candidate said, all the others could have said. So here's a rare exception. You'll hear Senator Clinton trying to define the difference between her idea of change and those of Edwards and Obama.
Some believe you get change by demanding it. Some believe you get it by hoping for it. I believe you get it by working hard for change.
For his part, Senator Edwards left no doubt about what he means by change.
And if you want a fighter, to voters, to caucus goers, you are looking at somebody, I'm 54 years old, who has spent his entire life engaged in this fight and winning this fight that we must win.
We're starting to get the message. He's a fighter.
Very perceptive, Harry. There was a moment when Obama was asked how he could be a change agent when so many of President Clinton's foreign policy advisors were on his team, and there was a raucous laugh from Hillary, who said, I want to hear the answer. And Obama said, well, I'll be happy to take advice from you, Hillary. So that was an interesting moment.
Right. Yesterday's debate was very polite. Again today, very polite in Iowa. What's that all about?
First, there's a belief that Iowa voters punish roughhouse politics. It seemed to be true back in 2004. Second, the Des Moines Register, sponsor of these debates, is making its endorsement Sunday. And on the Democratic side, particularly, that endorsement is critical. It was one reason why Senator Edwards finished a strong second, and nobody wants to play roughhouse and offend the good people who run the Des Moines Register.
Jeff Greenfield, thanks. A showdown is coming over climate change. At a world conference in Bali, European nations threatened today to boycott upcoming U.S.-sponsored climate talks unless the Bush administration commits to deep cuts in greenhouse gases. Former Vice President Al Gore agreed action is needed now.
My own country, the United States, is principally responsible for obstructing progress here in Bali. We all know that. We all know that.
Gore predicted the next U.S. president will be more likely to support an agreement on greenhouse gases. Up next, a story that may have you at least thinking about taking an axe to your walls. Did you ever wonder what may be inside the walls of your home? Of course not, but you may want to give that some thought after you see this story from Cynthia Bowers.
Amanda Reese had planned on sinking money into her 90-year-old house, not pulling it out. So imagine her surprise when her contractor Bob Kitts called to say he had found a hidden treasure inside the bathroom wall.
I grabbed one of the envelopes and I tear off a corner and there's a $50 bill. I thought I was going to pass out.
The total, $182,000, many of them rare bills dating from 1929, worth an estimated $500,000.
It is absolutely the most unusual thing that's happened in my life.
In May of 2006, the two celebrated their incredible luck, but their party didn't last long. Reese says she offered Kitts a 10% finder's fee. He says she offered to split it and then backed out. Now the two speak only through their attorneys.
Citing an arcane law more commonly associated with sunken treasure on the high seas than buried treasure in a suburban neighborhood, Kitts is now claiming finders keepers and saying he's entitled to a much bigger chunk.
It's kind of a very obscure law, but I guess it's on the books for a reason.
Reese's attorney likens the law to some weird question on a bar exam.
Frankly, I think it also might work in kindergarten, but it's not going to work now.
18 months later, Amanda Reese wants it all to be over.
I honestly hope and I believe that the law and common sense will commingle.
Just how this buried treasure is divvied up could well be up to a judge. In the meantime, the only people getting a share of the windfall now are the attorneys. Cynthia Bowers, CBS News, Cleveland.
That's the CBS Evening News. Katie will be back tomorrow. I'm Harry Smith. I'll see you in the morning on The Early Show. Good night.
For news 24 hours a day, click on CBSNews.com.